to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit, join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining me on this pop-up. I know this is not regularly scheduled. I know this is not what we normally do. As a matter of fact, I have not been on for quite some time now. So some of you might be saying, well, this is a surprise. I know. But there are some things unfolding that are so important, so pressing, that I just felt the urgency to come on and just have a brief conversation. And, you know, if you've been watching my page or you've been a longtime follower, then you know I haven't really even posted that much on the page. But today you saw me posting back to back because a major event has taken place. And I'm concerned that many of us are misinterpreting what's happening, and that we kind of got caught up in the euphoria of what looks like a win. And to some point, some level it is, but it's not a total win. So I want to have a conversation with you about that real quick. But before I do, I need those of you who are on with me right now, help me get the word out, let everybody know that we're on. Go ahead and like and share, share the live right now, invite your friends to come over, put that little, the little and symbol and put highlight our followers there so that you can notify everybody on your friends list and invite them to come over and be a part of the conversation. Put that in the comments, if you will. Well, at least I hope they still have that. I don't know. Facebook is always changing things and doing things differently. So I don't know if that feature still works or it still exists or not. But if it does, then use it and let's promote the heck out of this live real quick. Hey, Sharon, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hey, oh my goodness, Kamuria. It's great to see you. Now, I'm telling you, always working now, so we hardly ever get to see you anymore. But I am happy for you being able to work and being able to churn out, you know, a living and pursuing your goals. I'm really, really excited for you. But it's good seeing you. It's good to see you on here. But yeah, and as you come into the room, please go ahead and announce yourself. Just say hi or something in the comments so that we'll know that you're here. Now I'm starting to see more people come on to the live. We're going to start the conversation in just a few minutes because I'm not going to be on here very long. I promise you that, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, and then we're done. Unless you guys decide that you want to talk further. And, then, of course, I'll stay around and answer any questions, or I'll have the conversations or discussion as long as you are actively involved and want to hear it. But my intention, my plan is that in 30 minutes time, we'll be done with the conversation. But as I was saying, that man, today, and those of you who join me in the mornings at the Emerge partner portal for morning meditation, our morning meditation, prayer, and prophecy that we have every morning at 6 a.m. You heard me speaking about the significance of the day, and that this was the opportune time for you to really get out, get active, and start to really launch and create and do and pursue, because the climate is about to shift, about to take a major shift. And so you need to get certain things in place. And those of you who've been following me for any period of time for over 6 months or a year, then you know that I started telling you over a year ago about making certain preparations for what was getting ready to unfold in the United States. And here we are. So, and today was a salient, significant moment of unfolding and revealing. And I just want to make sure that we don't misinterpret what took place today, or for those of you who may not be as paying attention, that you start to pay attention to what is happening. Don't be so heavenly minded that you are no earthly good. Don't get so caught up in your spiritual lingo, rhetoric, and language that you cannot look at the practicality of the events that are taking place and what is unfolding right in front of us. And yes, there is a spiritual component to it, a spiritual significance to it, but there is also a larger, practical, real life, right now implication to everything that is taking place. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by coincidence. Nothing is taking place outside of the purview of what it is that is set to unfold within this three-dimensional realm. Okay? And please don't come on here saying silly stuff like, well, I don't care what's happening. God is in control. Oh, Lord, please stop. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I really don't have time for that kind of a tired, lazy approach to the reality that we are facing. God is in control. This is not about whether God is in control or not. And the God that is in control is the God that works in you, through you, and as you. So the control that is exercised is not some abracadabra, poof, invisible force out in the sky somewhere. It is the power, the authority that is within you and I to begin to shape the world in which we live. So yes, this is not a question of God's control. It is a question of God's vessels being actively involved and doing the work of God to shape a reality that reflects the image, likeness, and the goodness of God. Okay? So please don't bring me that, oh, God is in control. God is in control. Okay, yeah, good. Now what? We just got to pray. Okay, well, when you get through praying, then what? Because after you get through praying, you still got to get up and deal with the reality of the world that we are living in right now. And the country, for those of us here in the United States, that we are living in right now. And the policies that are being put in place that no matter who you are, saved, unsaved, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Taoist, black, white, yellow, green, polka dot, big, tall, short, fat, rich or poor, you are going to be affected by the policies and the actions and the decisions that are being made right now on supposedly on your behalf. Okay? So you definitely need to understand that you are personally affected by what is taking place. And if you want to use a Bible scripture, then you can use the narrative about Moses and the 10 plagues. There was only one of those 10 plagues that the children of Israel was exempt from. Every one of the other 9, they were affected by the plagues that hit the land, that came into Egypt, just like the Egyptians were, whether it was the frogs or the flies, or they were affected by the same plagues. So understand that even if you want to be super deep and spiritual and spiritualize everything that's taking place, understand that you are not shielded from the effects of the plagues that are being set upon this country right now. You got to live in it. You got to survive in it. You got to deal with the economy of it. You got to deal with the atmosphere, the society, the divisiveness. You've got to deal with the rise of the maliciousness and division and hatred and malice that is taking place in this country. You've got to deal with the rolling back and taking us backwards to a time that most of us who are my age and older thought that were long gone and we would never see those times again. And yet here we are. Okay. All right. Like and share. Come on, y'all. Help me get the word out. Help me spread it. Help me get other people to come and be a part of this live conversation. I want to get as many people on as I possibly can. So please help me out by liking and sharing this live. Where is it at? You know, Facebook can be funny acting. I'm telling you, I think they've rigged it to be just that way. How is my live not showing up on my page? And I'm looking at my page right now. Let me click the live. Okay. Well, here it is over here. Look at that. And then all these other people are on here that I don't even see on the screen over here. I see you, Patrice. See, I'm so glad I opened up this other app so that I could see everybody. Isn't that crazy? I'm telling you, Facebook is goofy. It's goofy. Okay. Anyway. All right. So if you've been paying attention and if you watch the news at all or even scrolled on social media, my beard look all scruffy and wild. You can tell I've been just like busy working and hustling all day long and haven't had, this is a serious pop-up because I look like a bum. But at any rate, you just going to have to deal with how I look. I'm looking like a bum. My beard looking all scruffy and wild and out of place. I got on my work clothes and everything else like that. But anyway, you couldn't turn on the news or scroll through social media without hearing about the Supreme Court decision that was made today. This is a natural occurrence that has spiritual significance, but also has very practical and natural significance. And there's a nuance to it that we need to definitely pay attention to. Okay? They decided several cases today, but the major case, incidentally, this case has been on their docket for over a year. So they slow walked this case intentionally, giving space and room to the white supremacists and others of that ilk, giving room and space to them to begin to think that this was a legitimate argument that was being brought before the Supreme Court, that it took some time and deliberation before they could actually bring it for oral arguments. And then the outcome of this particular ruling, it ended up being a 6-3 or really more like a 5-4 decision on something that should have been a 9-0 decision, because it was an absolute slam dunk when it comes to the Constitution and the plain reading of the text. If you took the time to, as I did, I'm a bit of a nerd and I admit that, I embrace it wholly. I took the time to actually sit through and listen to the oral arguments as they were taking place, and then listen to them again today as we were waiting for the decision to come. And the argument being put forth by this administration, by the U.S. Attorney General, Solicitor General, by the federal government and the Trump administration was imbecilic, it was obtuse, it was ridiculous, it was farcical, it was the most just dumb. I'm trying to use other words, but really it was a stupid, dumb argument that should have been dismissed out of hand. They should have been laughed out of the court, and the arguments should have lasted all of about maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Instead, ladies and gentlemen, because this is settled law with over 100 years of precedent, this was a Reconstruction Amendment when the country was reborn and reconstituted. A Reconstruction Amendment was the 14th, like the 13th Amendment, the 12th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was a Reconstruction amendment, and it was done specifically for the benefit of Black people who were the descendants of slaves, that settled that if you were born in these United States, you were automatically a citizen, birthright citizenship. That has been settled precedent law for over 100 years. Do you hear what I'm saying? For over 100 years, there has never been one inkling of questioning it in the entire 100 and some odd years that it has been in effect. Yet, we found ourselves in the place where this Supreme Court lended legitimacy to the ridiculous, empty, vapid arguments being put forth by this administration to weaken, narrow, and in their hopes and in their argument, destroy the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, all in the name of national security and protecting the homeland and so on and so forth, which is a bunch of BS. The whole entire argument was BS. If you listen to those arguments, you would find the argument being put forth by this administration and its lawyer, because you need to understand that even though the U.S. Attorney, the Solicitor General, is supposed to be representing the people of the United States, they don't represent the people of the United States. They represent Donald Trump. The Attorney General represents Donald Trump. Everyone in this administration does not work for the good of the nation or the people. They work in service to Donald Trump. Now, you need to know that. Stop expecting anyone in this administration on any level to come to the rescue, including the judiciary. Okay? Not the Congress, not the Senate, not the administration, not the cabinet, not the judiciary, not this Supreme Court. Now you're saying, well, wait a minute, hold on. They ruled though in favor of birthright citizenship. So isn't that a win? Is it though? For the vote to be this close sends a signal that it is a legitimate argument to question whether or not birthright citizenship should be the law of the land. Now, I'm going to tell you why that should be very important to you, especially those of us who are African Americans, who are Black people in this country. I'm going to tell you why it should be very important to us and why we should definitely be involved in paying attention and preparing ourselves. Because as much as I would love to say that things are about to get better, I cannot say that. I can say to you that things are going to get categorically worse long before they get better. They will get better. But that eventuality is far down the road. Don't let anybody fool you talking about a blue wave, talking about this, that, or the other. But trust me when I tell you, you can write it down, save this video so you can come back and look at it. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me you're a lying prophet. You wrong. You can't see. You blind in one eye and can't see out the other one. I'm here to tell you things are going to get categorically worse before they get better. We have not seen the worst of what is to come. The groundwork is being laid for a catastrophic upheaval in these United States. I'm telling you what I absolutely positively know. And those who are Emerge partners and who have been following along with me for the last 2 to 3 years know that I've been sounding this alarm now for 3 years running straight. And I've been saying it over and over and over again. So I am not saying anything new to those who've been following and paying attention. I'm telling you that it's going to get worse. Now, I need you to pay attention. I need you to pay attention to something. Yes, the overall ruling was a positive one in the sense that it held off an attack on birthright citizenship, but it only did so for the moment. People are cheering and all excited. Unfortunately, there are a number of us who are cheering and all excited because I think it's because, number one, there's a level of apathy within our community that's just remarkable and shocking. And then number two, there's a level of illiteracy when it comes to our history. Now, I blame my generation for that because we as the boomers and older have done a piss poor job of really making sure that the generations that followed us understood our history and understood the fight and the struggle and the ongoing war that we are in this country, that we've become at ease in Zion. And because things were a little better, we didn't have the dogs and the water hoses anymore, that, oh Lord, we done overcame, but we haven't. I would venture to say that things are probably becoming worse now than they were then, without the dogs or the water hoses. Those were things that we could visibly see and fight against and march and do other things where that was concerned. But they are attacking our community on the policy level, and they are coming at us through a back door, using the Latino, Hispanic community and Asian community as a back door into our community, which is the ultimate target. Please hear me when I tell you, Black people, we are and have always been the ultimate target. No matter how much they talk about, this is about immigration, this is about illegal aliens, this is about this, that. Trust me when I tell you that is just the surface level cover in order to come through a back door for a rear attack against us. We are the target. Pay attention. because this particular amendment, the 14th Amendment, Reconstruction Amendment, was a result of the Dred Scott ruling. That this amendment came into place to overturn and undo what had been decided in the Dred Scott ruling, that basically robbed us, stripped us of any legitimacy or citizenship within the United States, taking away our rights, our voice, and basically saying that we had no rights that any white man in this country had to acknowledge or pay or respect. It made us it delegitimized our experience and our life here, and made it as though we were simply cattle, animal property, and not even second-class citizens, non-citizens at all. The 14th Amendment, this Reconstruction Amendment, was put in place to rectify that specifically. Even Uncle Thomas, Clarence Thomas, had to acknowledge that in his misinformed, idiotic argument that he was trying to lay down, he accidentally included the idea that this amendment was race-based, and so therefore should have no merit as it relates to immigration, because this was to undo an atrocity of slavery. Now, we all know Uncle Thomas, right? He is the most anti-Black, self-hating ninja on the planet. He's worse than Byron Donalds and Tim Scott combined. Okay? So he even had to put forth this because why? He understood that this amendment was directly put in place to rectify the wrongs that were done in Dred Scott and to give Black people in this country full human citizenship in this country. But they have, in today's argument, in this case, they used immigration as a cloak to try and undermine, weaken, undercut, and ultimately rescind the 14th Amendment, not just so they could go after the illegal immigrants, which is a ridiculous terminology, nobody's illegal, but to go after immigrants, but to ultimately come after you and I. Because if the 14th Amendment is overturned, do you hear what I'm saying? I said, if the 14th Amendment is overturned, then there is nothing stopping them from turning around and saying, okay, all of you Black people who are the descendants of slaves are not real citizens in the United States. Because even though you were born here, you were born to non-citizens, and you come from a lineage of non-citizens, which means your citizenship does not exist. Okay? And you heard, and I hear you. You heard the solicitor saying, "Oh no, we're wanting this to be purely prospective. So it won't be retroactive. It will only be prospective. So it will only deal with from here moving forward." That's what they always say in order to get their foot in the door, so that then once they have weakened it and put in place the rule that moves the goalpost and begins to affect from today forward, they can go back later and say, okay, you know what? We need to make it retrospective as well, because if this is true, and if this is aligned with the Constitution moving forward, then certainly it's true for the other. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Then they can rob and strip every African American in this country of their birthright citizenship. See, and now you're saying, well, that's a bit far-fetched. In order to have a constitutional amendment, you got to have a 2/3 majority in the House and in the Senate. It's a huge leap that they'll never be able to make. Well, that's exactly what you said about Trump when he first ran. Nobody will ever vote for him. He'll never win. Man, please, Hillary's going to wipe the floor with him. There's no way people are going to vote. You underestimate just how racist this country is and how that racism informs people's actions, choices, and decisions to the point where they will vote against their own interests if they think that it will harm us. Okay? Regardless to what Uncle Tim says, America is a racist country, has always been, and continues to be so right this moment. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to think about the arguments that were being put forth. The reason why I said that this was a 6-3, really more like 5-4 decision, which makes it very close, one vote could have tilted the scale in the other direction, is because Brett Kavanaugh, even though he voted with the majority, he wrote a concurring dissent that basically, watch this, laid the groundwork for the Congress and Senate and the President of the United States, the executive, to flip this thing on its head. If you listen to the oral arguments, his questioning was aligned with the thought or the idea, okay, this is precedent, and this can't be done by fiat, it can't be done by an executive order. But wouldn't Congress have the power to shift and change this if they so choose to do so? If they put in place certain laws and stipulations and restrictions, wouldn't that effectively put an enforcement mechanism in place and a permission slip for this particular action to take place? And the Solicitor General like, well, yes, we hadn't thought about that, but that is a different approach. But we're saying that this argument should be good enough. But at the same time, the light bulb is clicking and the message has been sent. And you know it was sent because when the decision came down, the leader of the Republican House, Mike Johnson, went immediately to the podium and said this day's decision was really a poor, wrong, and misguided decision. But it gave us kind of a roadmap as to, Congress, maybe we need to take some actions and put in place some other laws and restrictions. In other words, we heard the signal coming from Kavanaugh that it's on us. And if we can craft a law or a set of laws that constrict and restrict and weaken the 14th Amendment and get them through the Congress, get them through the House and the Senate, there is no doubt that the president will sign it. As a matter of fact, he came out right after Mike Johnson and said the exact same thing and then encouraged the Congress to go to work on it immediately and that they would have his full support, all in the name of immigration. No, that's the cover. You better listen to what I'm telling you. That's the cover. They laid out the groundwork, laid out a roadmap for the congressional leaders who he knew were listening, a roadmap for them to take action to do what this particular executive order was not enforceable enough to do. So he was basically saying, I really want to vote with you, but I kind of can't, but I want to give you a roadmap to follow so you can bring this matter back to us again, and then you got my vote. Amy Coney Barrett did the exact same thing in her argument. Go back, listen to the oral arguments, listen to her questions, and they will tell you exactly what was on her mind. She did not disagree with the underlying principle per se, just the method that they were using in order to get there, and asserted that it needed congressional authority in order to be enforceable. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Okay? And then, of course, without question, they knew going in that they could depend on Alito and they could depend on Thomas. They knew without a shadow of a doubt, if there was nobody else who was going to vote in their favor, it was definitely Alito and Thomas, because Thomas hates himself so much that he will do anything possible to try and destroy the Black community that he came from. And Alito is just an open, outright racist. And so you've got a Black white nationalist, and then an open, unapologetic racist cohort sitting right next to him, who you can always count on them taking the affirmative against anything that is in support of equality, civil rights, or supports Black people or the Black community at all. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Okay? All of these things are in place. So what we have to understand is that though today we won a battle, the war has not been won. The war is still raging on, and the war is being fought strategically on a lot of different fronts by this Republican Party. And people will say, oh, well, Trump is not as dumb as you think he is. He's really smart. Yes, he is. He is as dumb as we think he is. He's really stupid. He is one of the dumbest persons on the planet, one of the most ignorant presidents that we have ever had he is the most ignorant president that we have ever had in this entire country's history. And that's saying a lot, considering we had Cleveland and others like that. Oh, God. He is the dumbest and the most racist. And that's saying a lot, considering we had Andrew Jackson and George Washington and Jefferson. That's saying a lot. But he is the most ignorant and the most racist president that we have ever had. So him signing into law a bill that makes it through the House and the Senate, there's no doubt about it. Do you see why it's so important that you get out and vote while you can? Why do you think that he is fighting so hard and promoting the idea that this Save America Act be passed? It's like, man, I don't care about housing. I don't care about healthcare. I don't care about the economy. I don't care about you suffering. Man, we need to get this vote suppression bill passed so I can control the outcome of the election, so I can maintain a majority in the House and in the Senate, so that we can continue the march toward reforming the entire country and taking it back to the time before Reconstruction. Do you understand that that is the ultimate goal of this wannabe fascist authoritarian dictator? And I found it necessary to come on and have this conversation because, can I tell you, y'all are a little too quiet for me. Y'all are a little too quiet, too at ease in Zion. There's not enough anger and outrage and not enough people that are pissed off about what is taking place around us right now. It's like we've just resigned ourselves to say, oh, well, it's going to happen anyway. This is what they're going to do. They're going to do whatever they want to do. So it doesn't matter whether I vote or not. And besides, both parties are corrupt. And you would be correct. There are racists and bigots and xenophobics, homophobics in the Democratic Party. They are both corrupt. Absolutely. Yes, there are. But one party is not actively working to destroy us, and we can at least navigate and do have some sort of a voice within that party and some power to begin to influence policy and legislation. While the other party is just outright racist and anti-Black and anti-homophobic, xenophobic, anti-woman, anti-any and everything except for millionaires and billionaires and the wealthy and the uber rich. Even the poor white people that support the GOP do so out of pure racism. It is not for any kind of economic reasons, because they have plainly demonstrated and said they don't care about your economic situation. They don't care about you being poor. They don't care about you being broke. They don't care about you losing your farm. They don't care about you losing your job. They don't care about factories closing down. They don't care about outsourcing. They don't care that you don't have health care. They don't care if you don't have daycare. They don't care. They do not care if you cannot afford your drugs and your prescription drugs are going through the roof. They don't care. And yet, those same poor whites still line up to vote for the same administration. Why? Because not the dog whistle, because they're not dog whistling anymore. The bullhorn of racism is being shouted from the mountaintop, and that ignites their soul. And they're like, oh, yes, we heard I might lose the farm. I may die of cancer and I can't get my teeth fixed and I don't have anybody to help me with my children. But at least those ninjas are going to get what's coming to them. We're going to put them back in their place. This is the white man's country. This is a Christian, God-fearing, Jesus country. Not the one that you shouting, speaking in tongues and falling out over, but white Jesus, blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus. Jesus that approves slavery, Jesus that approves the death penalty, Jesus that approves all of these other things that they are in favor of. That Jesus who looks the other way when cops are brutally murdering us. That Jesus that wants to deport millions of Haitian immigrants and other African immigrants that are here because they don't want people who look like us. That Jesus. That's the one that they get a tear in their eye and they put their hand over their heart and pledge allegiance to a filthy flag and cry as they sing, "Oh, my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty." For us, not for you. Y'all not angry enough. You're not active enough. You floating along like everything is just wonderful and that all you need to really worry about is if I can just make it through the day. And they try and keep the chaos and the confusion going and the economy in a wreck and everything as tight as possible so that you will be fully engaged with just trying to survive in survival mode, to not pay attention to the fact that they are trying to cut your throat. And they are hoping. They created this wedge. Do you think that it's an accident that the kind of uproar that's taking place between the Black community and the Asian community, between the Hispanic community and the Asian community, between the Jewish community and the Black community? Do you think that that's an accident? Do you think that it's an accident that even within the Democratic Party, they have raised the plight of the Palestinians and the people in Gaza above the plight of the Black people that live here right now? And I am not anti-Palestinian. I am all in favor of them. I am anti-Zionist, against the atrocities and the genocidal behavior of the Israeli government 100%. I am anti-AIPAC and all of their other power wielding mechanisms that they have in this country that rules over both parties in this country. But what I am also saying is, where was that same energy when they were murdering us in the street? And they still are. That there are still thousands upon tens of thousands of Black children that go missing, and nobody's even talking about them, yet alone looking for them. There are still thousands of Black people that are murdered in this country by the only legalized terroristic gang in the world, the police. Every single year. And nobody's saying a word. We got upset about a joke about George Floyd, and it was a right to be upset about it because it was disrespectful. But at the same time, we got to be concerned about more than just the joke, because the joke is on us, because they are still George Floyding all of our people. What happened to police reform? What happened to justice reform? Criminal justice reform? What happened to affirmative action? What happened to the Voting Rights Act? What happened to the Civil Rights Act? And so you've got all of these people, even in the Democratic Party, who have raised the issue of Gaza and the Palestinians far above the atrocities that have been taking place in this country and the genocide of Black people in this country for centuries. And so now they're saying, well, if you're taking money from AIPAC and if you don't support the Palestinian cause, then we don't support you and we're not going to vote for you, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, you took $10 from AIPAC, you got $100,000 from AIPAC, and so now we can't stand with you, but you don't have a problem with them. You don't have a problem with them ignoring criminal justice reform, ignoring the prison reform, ignoring Voting Rights Act, ignoring. You don't have a problem with that and saying, oh, no, we can't vote for you unless, of course, you take a stand for these issues that affect our Black brothers and sisters in this country, who have created and laid out the foundation and built the house that you are living in. Who's benefited most from civil rights, the civil rights movement? White women. And then Asians. Are you hearing what I'm saying? The very people that are anti-Black. Where's the outrage? Where's the taking a stand? If we're going to be a single issue voter, that single issue should have to do with us, not with somebody else. And I am all for them. I am 100% for them. I agree that the Palestinians should have their own state, that there is indeed a genocide and apartheid taking place there. It is wrong. It is ungodly. It is heinous. It is terrible. It is destructive. It is terroristic. But so is what they've been doing to us for centuries and continue to do. And if we don't wake up and get our eyes on the ball, if we don't start paying attention to what's actually taking place around us and start placing a demand on those who are supposed to represent us in the same way that everybody's putting a demand on them who their representatives as far as it relates to the Palestinian cause, if we don't have that same fervor and same fire as it relates to us, we're going to find ourselves on the short end of the stick. I'm done. I know I've already been on here way longer than what I said that I was going to be, and I'm going to end the conversation with this one. I'm going to end it with this. I've said for over a year now, and I will say it again. Every African American in this country, you need to have one or the other thing in place. An escape plan, so that you can get out of this country and for a period of time while the Reformation is taking place until order and peace is restored. Or you need a survival plan, a way to be able to maintain and survive in this country without any of the other kinds of government assistance and framework and infrastructure that you have become accustomed to, because it is going to fade away. America is not a safe place for Black people. Well, it's never been safe for us, but it is becoming even less so right now. You need to have an escape plan in place, a go bag with your passport and your medical records and your ID and your birth records and all of your vital stuff, everything in it, and some cash money, not just debit and credit cards, but some cash money, and be ready to travel at a moment's notice and be gone for a period of time. Get your business in order, get your affairs in order so they'll be able to be maintained. And if you are not in a position to be able to leave this country, you need to start networking with other brothers and sisters and start building a barter system and creating covenant with each other so that you're able to survive in this country without being dependent upon the systems that are in place now, because they are crumbling. Now you can laugh and say I'm crazy and I'm, and oh, Miles done lost it. He done went off the, jumped the shark and went off the edge now. He done lost his mind. But all you have to do is check the record from 2-3 years ago and look at what's happening right now. Everything that I said was going to happen is unfolding. Well, not everything. Probably about 85 to 90% of it has taken place. There's still other things that are to come. And it's about to get worse. So you need a strategy. You need a plan. And you need to be proactive. Get your finances in order. Stop trying to live like a celebrity and live within your means. Lower your overhead, pay off your debts, and start putting away money and saving and investing into things that are safe so that you can begin to build a cushion for yourself, so that whether you are staying or leaving, you won't be in dire straits. Get it in order. Stop going and supporting all of these white folk at Louis Vuitton and Gucci and everywhere else. And y'all, I said it. Yeah, I said it. And Temu and Shein and all the rest of them, and Amazon and everybody else making billions, trillions of dollars off our community. Okay? Yes. The Asian community has made a whole lot of money off of working right there in our community, taking our dollars and then leaving our community to go live and spend it amongst themselves. But so has Amazon. So has Gucci. So has Louis Vuitton. So has Tommy Hilfiger. So has all of these others. Status symbols. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's time to wake up, people. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Get involved. We are way too quiet. And I'm gonna tell you right now, let me say this. I'm done. I promise I'm done. I am embarrassed and ashamed of the so-called preachers and leaders in our country right now. Black preachers who never, ever even address the atrocities that are unfolding and taking place. You're supposed to be a prophet and apostle, some spiritual leader, and you hearing and seeing and all the stuff that God is downloading in your spirit about a bunch of nonsense, but you don't see nothing about what's taking place amongst our people in our community and what's happening in the government around us. No, there's no one sounding the alarm or putting out a warning and beginning to give us structure and practical steps that we can take to prepare ourselves. We have the largest gathering of our people than anywhere else in the world every Sunday or Saturday, whenever you have your worship, and all of these captive audience is sitting there in your congregation, and you don't even open your mouth except to say, slap your neighbor and turn to your neighbor and shake your neighbor's hand and shake it like you're going to shake it off. Yeah. Shut up. If you're not going to say anything that's useful, that's helpful, that's practical, then just shut up. Close down. Go out of business. Take off your collar and go get a job. I said it, and I'll add to it before I take it back. If your pastor, preacher, whoever they are not addressing the real issues that we are facing today, right now, if they are not an advocate, they are not a voice, if they're not a loud voice sounding the alarm, then they're not saying anything. I don't care how much they say, well, God told me to tell you. God told me to tell you this, that, the other. And God told me to tell you if you turn around 7 times and touch down and touch your toes, run to the door and slap your neighbor. Whoa, God getting ready to give you a breakthrough, supernatural debt transfer. Ooh, shande ke ta 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 ta. Nonsense. You've been hearing that for years and ain't nothing happened yet. Come on, don't even get me started. I'm not gonna go down there. I'm not gonna go down there because I know I'm gonna piss everybody off then. Okay? It's time to get involved. It's time to get active. It's time to get focused. And it's time to prepare. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Boy, I lost my audience real fast. I knew once I started talking about them preachers, everybody was going. Numbers had gone up significantly, and all of a sudden now we done dropped down. I think there's only about 3-4 people left on here now. You ain't gonna talk about my pastor. That's okay. You're gonna see that I'm right. All right? So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. I hope you did listen for real and that you're ready to act. Have a good night.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at Emerge LEC Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.